Yo, what's up? Let me put my headphones on. And we got another video in today. Same day. You can probably tell. For those who are paying attention, we're going to continue with the same trend of reality TV shows and stuff, given the nice and powerful trend line going on. And we're going to be watching another visual venture video. TV's most disturbing reality shows. I wonder if he's gonna like re-mention the kid one in this one. We're gonna have to see. We know we got more food because it's later in the day. We got some sushi. Hold on. These might low-key start becoming the best parts of the videos. The food spread. We got some sushi. We got some chips, salsa, turkey, cheese, and some soy sauce. And let's do it. Wow.
It's one of the most controversial reality shows of all time.
I think maybe the biggest thing that I don't like
I know
about
that
the
guy.
show is it seems to manipulate the contestants.
It's upsetting in a lot of ways. What this producer and all the people who worked for him did to this poor guy.
I don't know what your values are, but certainly the show does not fit in any set of values.
Most reality shows are about singing, cooking, or dancing, but others were created just to shock or disgust viewers. Some of these shows were so bad, viewers sued the network for airing them. Today, we're diving into the worst. We'll look at TV's most disturbing reality shows, starting
people
from the
really
least
be
to the most shocking.
yapping
So my goal this year is to
about how
give you
much they
guys
don't like
double
it
the
and
amount of
still be
videos
eating it
without
up, though.
sacrificing quality. And in order for me to do that, we gotta keep Visual Venture growing. So 75% of you guys aren't subscribed, and it would mean the world to
Hey,
me
you know
if
I
you
am.
did. And I promise to give you more fire content. I'm Visual Venture. You are awesome.
I know
MILF
you
Manor. Google
MILF
MILF Manor,
Manor?
and you'll see headlines
No way,
like
this is
MILF
bad.
Manor is the worst thing I watched this year. MILF Manor
You're
is a
capping.
show that should not exist, and everyone involved
seen
is
this
going
show, but it
straight to
sounds-
hell. And people
sounds
might
lit.
have not been overreacting. Their biggest
Off the
problem
top.
was the show's insane concept. MILF Manor was a dating show that premiered in January 2023. It followed 8 women in their 40s and 50s who wanted to date younger men. So the producers handpicked
This
a
sounds
group of
lit.
guys who seemed like perfect matches.
Please head to the
What's
house
wrong with
where
this?
you
That
will
sounds
meet the
lit.
new men in your life. Let's go.
But as soon as the guys walked out, the show took a disgusting turn.
Oh, wait. I heard about this.
there.
These weren't just random young
mind, I
men. They
did
were the
see something
contestants'
about this.
own sons. They were the sons
Yeah,
of the
never mind.
older women.
Y'all got
That
it.
meant that every son had to watch his mother flirt, kiss, and date right in
Y'all
front of
got
her.
it.
And the moms had to watch their sons do the same.
I knew my son Gabriel was going to be in Mexico with me. I thought he was going to be on a separate dating retreat, but he's in my dating pool.
But that was just the beginning. Instead of giving everyone separate rooms, the producer forced each mother and son to share a bedroom. So if a mom
That
wanted
is
alone time with one of the
diabolical.
other guys, she had to kick her son out. Viewers were
That is
horrified, calling the show
diabolical.
demented and weird. However, for the mothers and sons on the show, the experience was worse.
really
By the
care
second
about that.
episode, one of the sons was left legitimately traumatized after finding out what his mother did. The producers needed to keep the show exciting, so in every episode, contestants were forced into awkward challenges. In episode 2, they had to guess each other's inappropriate secrets. That meant that sons had to sit there and listen to their mom's bedroom
nah,
experiences
bruh, I'm
and vice
good.
versa. Obviously,
good
it
on
did
that.
not end well.
I'm
During the
good on
challenge,
that.
one of the moms confessed to doing something with her son's best friend.
Okay,
I'm
my
so
secret
good on
is
that.
as with your best friend.
The son was speechless. He later
I'm
told
not
the
trying
show
to be that-
producers that he felt
that
traumatized
close.
by the savage news.
Not trying to be all up.
This is something I never saw coming. I did not expect this at all. 0%.
That scene went viral and got everyone talking. Someone tweeted,
Yeah,
the pain
but-
in his face when his mom reveals her secret. MILF Manor is going to ruin these families. But instead of hurting the show,
would be
the
better if
negative
they didn't know
publicity
each other.
helped it grow. Soon, MILF Manor was one of the most popular shows of 2023. It was a train wreck, impossible to watch, yet impossible to look away from. This tweet said it best. MILF Manor being the single most demented, sick, and twisted television show put in television in the past 20 years. OMG, I will be seated for every episode. The first season, which
Exactly.
aired on TLC, accumulated more than 45 million views. But people weren't watching because they liked MILF Manor. They watched just to complain.
It seems to be unanimously the most
You like that?
show I've
People
ever
love
seen.
bad stuff.
The backlash didn't stop the producers from releasing MILF Manor Season 2 in 2024. This time, the single women were pursued by younger men and their fathers. Still weird, but in a different way. MILF Manor has a 14% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And although it hasn't been confirmed, there's a chance MILF Manor Season 3 is already in the works. The show was a train wreck, but the worst part, these women had no control over their privacy. And that's not just a reality TV problem, it is an internet problem. Data brokers sell our personal information. That's where today's even includes a VPN post. If I did, would Kid Nation.
I saw this.
It involved time and money. Everyone
Kid
knew
Nation.
it made it
We know
anyway.
Kid Nation.
Kid Nation.
Seen this.
In 1954, someone wrote a book about kids trying to survive without
just saw
adults. It was called Lord of the Flies. In the story, a bunch of kids decided to create their own society on an island. But before long, everything falls apart. Tempers flare, they turn on each other, and their society descends into chaos. So everyone was shocked when CBS announced a reality show about kids building their own society. They called it Kid Nation. And no surprise, it was a complete disaster.
Welcome to Kid Nation.
Kid Nation was filmed in an empty town in New Mexico. 40 of America's smartest children were dropped off and told to run the town for 40 days. There were no adults to help them, just a camera crew who stayed out of the way. The kids were between the ages of 8 to 15.
Imagine a world with no adults. Just 40 kids with a chance to build their own society.
Our work is cut out for us.
City kids, country kids, rich, poor, and everything in between.
At first, it felt like an adventure. The kids were in charge, making their own rules. But then everything started to go wrong. The problem started on day 1. As soon as they arrived, the kids were given their first physical challenge: haul all of their food and supplies to the abandoned town in the middle of the desert heat. But that was just
Surprised
the
they
tip of the
recovered
iceberg.
from that so quickly. They must have had like extra stuff going on in the background that they like helped them recover with like electrolyte drinks and stuff like that.
When it was bedtime, they were given paper-thin, dirty mattress.
Die out here because there's nothing.
When-
There's no adults, and I think I'm gonna die out here because there's nothing.
When it was bedtime, they were given paper-thin,
Jimmy,
dirty mattress.
he was the
pads
first one to leave,
sleep
too.
on.
He kept
Food
it a brick.
wasn't any better. They were only given canned goods and
He was
dried
like,
beans and had to learn how to
I don't
prepare
know
their
about
own
this one.
meals.
Well, when we first started planning for dinner, I realized that a lot of us haven't done anything like this before.
Then there was the issue of medical care. With no parents around, they were left to treat their own injuries. Medics were on
That
standby,
is
but
so
they only
dangerous.
stepped in when things got really bad. With each passing day, Kid Nation got more chaotic. Kids ate with their hands because there were no clean dishes. Fights broke out, and someone was always complaining about something.
I don't see any food. No food. It looks like all our laundry and all our water is frozen in.
But instead of stopping the show, producers just recorded the chaos. And then the police arrived to shut it all down. A few weeks into filming, New Mexico officials received an anonymous complaint about the conditions at Kid Nation. When
they kept
inspectors showed up to investigate, they were turned away several times. Eventually, the show's producer were able to get law enforcement to back off. So, the mayhem continued.
I think the town definitely really needs some law and order because the people are just doing whatever they want, whenever they want.
The kids formed their own government by electing a town council, but all it did was create new problems and fights.
I find that really funny that you say you were nice to everybody on day 1. You treat me like a... I'm not gonna treat you good.
The show lasted 6 weeks, but if things got too intense, any child could choose to go home. So 3 kids quit before the show officially ended. Kid Nation finally aired on CBS in September 2007. And it caused an uproar. Viewers weren't just shocked. They accused the show of breaking the law. Child safety advocates accused the show of violating child labor laws. But the network saw this coming and made sure they were protected. CBS defended Kid Nation, claiming the set was more like a summer camp rather than a place of employment. Before filming, they also had the kids' parents sign a 22-page waiver giving up all rights to sue. Still, viewers complained that this show was too reckless and the contestants could have been seriously
That's how you know
hurt.
you're doing
Backlash
something
was
wrong.
so intense that CBS never made a second
the waiver
season.
has to be
This next show
22
took the
pages.
idea of beauty and pushed it way too far.
There's probably
The Swan.
something wrong.
What happens when you mix plastic surgery and beauty pageants? You get this horrible show. The Swan was a reality show where women got plastic surgery to compete in a beauty pageant, and every step of the process was recorded for the world to see. But what aired on TV was so unsettling, it was called the most sadistic reality series of the decade. Each episode began with the show selecting women they called ugly ducklings.
I've got hair. I feel completely unbearably disgusted with myself.
For 3 months, these women went
She
through
was
an
fine,
extreme
bro. She was
makeover
fucking
with a
average
team
woman.
that included a personal trainer,
Apparently
therapist,
nowadays.
dentist, and cosmetic surgeons. But the biggest part of their transformation
Well, see, I think
involved
that's not
plastic surgery.
Women went under the knife for dramatic transformations, going from ugly ducklings, that's the phrase the show used, to beautiful swans.
Contestants got new noses, cheek implants, lip injections, and other jobs, all done at the same
They
time.
even
It
look
wasn't
better.
fun. Contestants were pressured into surgeries they didn't want. One woman was scolded by one of the plastic surgeons for
I thought they
refusing
signed
a
up for
nose
that.
job. Another woman felt mounting pressure from the show to continue getting more work done to her body. But things didn't get any easier after the surgeries either. For 3 months, contestants were completely isolated from their friends and family, only allowed brief phone calls each week. But the strangest part was that they weren't allowed to literally see themselves. Every mirror they came across was covered. On top of that, they endured intense workouts, strict diets, and therapy sessions. If they didn't keep up, the coaches would tear into them. One contestant was harshly scolded just for ordering cream cheese. It was a complete emotional shock. At the end of the 3 months, their final transformation was revealed. It was like going to bed and waking up looking like a different person.
That's crazy. That's like during the show.
No way. Oh my god.
When
But
was
the
this
show wasn't
recorded?
over yet. Each season, 9 contestants were chosen to move on
'Cause
to
was
the
plastic
Swan
surgery
Beauty
that good back
pageant.
then?
Those who didn't qualify
It was
for
like
the
back then.
pageant were simply sent home with no further support. That was pretty cruel considering they just went through life-changing surgeries.
Yeah.
And the people that they bring on to the show
Oh, that's who
to
he
undergo
is.
all these
He's
procedures
this plastic
do
surgery.
have
Yeah, I watched the video from
sometimes
him.
profound psychological issues that they need to help to
about,
work
like-
through. And this is not something that
It
you
was
can
about
do
BBLs
in
and
a
like
2.5
how there's
month
like, you know,
program.
problems
Some
that can
contestants
happen
later
with them.
said they struggled with depression
that
after the
people don't
show
think about.
ended. But the show didn't care. They focused on the women who made it to the Swan pageant. And for those women, well, things didn't get any better for them either. Instead of celebrating each contestant's journey, the show turned their transformations into a competition, adding more pressure to an already stressful experience.
And we've been, relying on each other, and then all of a sudden they're going to pit us against each other, not by our choices.
The Swan pageant was a standard beauty contest with categories like evening gown, swimsuit, and
So they
lingerie.
didn't know
Whoever
going
was
into this.
considered the most transformed
I wonder how they
woman at the end
advertised
was
it
crowned.
in the casting. Did they advertise it as like a makeover show or something like that? Or people who like thought they didn't look so good, they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna go on this makeover show," and then they like roped him into some stuff that they didn't think was gonna happen, because a lot of them said they had like procedures forced onto them, like they didn't want. But I would assume that they probably knew about it going into the show, but that key detail kind of tells me that maybe they didn't, right? And I know people have done that before where they've like said certain things in the casting and whatnot, and then it turned out to be something else once they actually got there. But that's tragic if that's what happened to some of these women.
The winner. The first season premiered in April 2004, and it was a hit,
Not my
averaging
birth month.
9.1 million viewers a week. Despite the high ratings, it also received a ton of negative comments.
The show stirred a major controversy, particularly over the ugly duckling crap.
Critics called it hurtful and repellent. Mental health experts said it promoted dangerous beauty standards.
100%.
But the whole setup and the people standing back there, it seems so contrived and fake that I just don't like it.
Even plastic surgeons spoke out, saying it was risky to put contestants through so many surgeries in such a short time. After 2 seasons of non-stop criticism, The Swan was canceled. But as time passed, its reputation only got worse. Entertainment Weekly ranked it the worst reality television show ever produced. This next show wasn't just deemed disturbing by the public. I think we can all agree that the premise itself was meant to be as shocking as possible. My Strange Addiction. Every episode of My Strange Addiction was either tragic, creepy, or shocking, sometimes all three. The show traveled across the country searching for people with the strangest addictions imaginable. The producers didn't want common struggles like gambling or substance use. They wanted addictions that would shock viewers to the core. And for 6 seasons, My Strange Addiction delivered exactly that, showcasing the strangest addictions ever seen on TV. One of the most unforgettable episodes followed a woman named Cassie. She recently lost her husband, and in her grief, she became addicted to eating his ashes.
First I lick my finger, and I don't just dip it in, I swirl around to kind of feel and get it caked on there good. And then I just eat it.
Then there was Nathaniel, who was in a romantic relationship with his car. He kissed the car, took it on dates, and even got intimate with it.
He's a normal guy. Everybody
It was love at first sight. His body and his interior and everything just together just seemed to fit. And I just felt an instant connection.
Some addictions were more about appearances. One man spent thousands of dollars on surgery to look like a celebrity.
Some people buy fancy cars or fancy mansions, and what I do with my money is I get surgery to look more like Justin Bieber.
Then there was a woman who ate beds, literally.
My name is Jennifer, and I'm addicted to eating matches.
Some of these addictions weren't just strange, they were dangerous. A woman named Lori couldn't fall asleep without her blow dryer turned on next to her. Firefighters warned her it was a serious fire hazard, but she couldn't stop.
She, one night, turned on this blow dryer.
Well, I guess if it got too hot,
the
she would
sound
wake
of
up,
it, the warmth of it, just instantly put me to sleep.
I
And from that
understand
night
that one. That
forward,
one's
I
not
was
so
hooked.
The show quickly became a hit. With each
Like, you wanna
episode,
be
the
warm, and
addictions
some
got
people like
stranger
white
and
noise.
more
Like, I like
shocking.
white noise
But
when I
then
sleep
one
sometimes.
addiction was so bizarre that viewers started to
it's
wonder
not bad.
if the
Can't even
entire
make that.
show was fake. In season 3, episode 27, a woman appeared on the show with a not-so-safe craving.
My name is Shannon. I'm 20 years old, and I'm addicted to drinking gasoline.
This
How does
episode
her
was so
body
outrageous it made
survive
people
her
start
liver?
asking questions.
feel
A
like
core user wrote, "Can someone actually drink gasoline daily
check.
without ending? I just can't believe she's walking and talking normally. This has to be fake, right?" That person wasn't alone. On Reddit, there was a whole conversation about if the show was fake. I mean, how could someone eat a mattress and not end up in the hospital? And that led to an even bigger question. If these addictions were real, was the show actually helping anyone, or just using their
what's the
struggles
point?
for entertainment? Most shows about
What's the point if
addiction
they
try
were
to help
fake?
people recover. My Strange Addiction didn't. It just filmed their struggles and moved on. The show pretended to care. Toward the end of the show, a therapist is usually brought in to assess the addiction and advise on the best course of action for the individuals to take. But most of the time, the therapist's advice wasn't helpful. One critic said
Wow.
it best. Afflictions are fascinating, but too much time is spent gawking at their odd behavior as opposed to treating it. Only in the final moments do therapists pay a visit, and they oversimplified things by suggesting exercise and journaling. After 6
That's so
seasons,
crazy.
My Strange Addiction ended in 2015.
They're not bad
So today,
suggestions,
clips
but
from the show still go viral.
I feel like
but
they
no one
need a
can
little
answer the
bit more
biggest
help on the
question:
front
were the
end with this
addictions on the
stuff.
show real, or was the entire show one big scam? This next show was built on a foundation of lies and deception. Scare Tactics. From 2003 to 2013, Scare Tactics aired 114 episodes. And in every single
Excuse
one,
me.
the goal was the same: to terrify people like never before.
Welcome to Scare Tactics, where the cameras are hidden and people's everyday fears are exposed.
It was a hidden camera show that lured people into terrifying situations. They thought they were being hunted by monsters, abducted by aliens, or haunted by ghosts. And it was their own friends and family that set them up.
UDY?
Each episode
Is
began
UDY
with
on
a
here?
setup.
I wanted to set up Ryan tonight on Scare Tactics because
What's the
he
name
always
of
thinks
this
he is so big and bad, and
Oh,
like I just
Most
wanted to prove to
Disturbing.
everyone
UDY
once
is
and
not
for
that
all, like,
disturbing.
he's not as hardcore as he always thinks that he is.
The show
It's
went
just
all
funny.
out, using actors, costumes, and special effects to make everything feel
Sometimes.
real. The prank always started with something normal, like a job interview or a car ride. Then suddenly things took a terrifying turn.
No, I have nothing to do with it.
You want my formula? You want my formula?
And just when the victim
Mr.
was about
Krabs?
to lose it, the actors dropped the iconic line, "You're on Scare Tactics."
Because you're on Scare Tactics.
Are you serious? Your boyfriend Matt set you up.
One of the worst pranks involved a rat monster experiment. The person being set up was hired as an assistant in a mysterious lab. Everything seemed fine until one of the experiments escaped.
There's like a little monster man running around in here. What was it?
Most viewers thought it was hilarious. Some felt the show was going too far with their scares. And then one day, Scare Tactics scared someone so much she sued the show. In March 2002, Scare Tactics picked their next target, Cara Blanc, a grade school teacher. With help from her friends, they lured Cara to an isolated location. Then out of nowhere, an actor in an alien costume jumped out. Cara panicked. The alien chased her everywhere. At the last second, the actors revealed it was all fake. Everyone else laughed, but Cara wasn't amused. She was furious and she wanted payback. Cara sued the show, claiming that she had to be hospitalized for physical injuries as well as severe emotional distress. She also asked the court to stop her episode from ever airing. In the end, Scare Tactics paid Cara a low 7-figure sum and her episode was never shown. Since then, more people have complained about the show, raising points like, what if someone had a medical condition? What if they fought back and hurt the actors? But everyone was usually always fine in the end. Even the ones who cried usually laughed when they realized it was all fake. So far, there's been 5 seasons of Scare Tactics, and in October 2024, it was revived for a 6th season.
But it is always a risk, like if something goes wrong, if somebody overreacts, if something like unforeseen happens, there's always a risk with that. But generally I feel like they're kind of entertaining, but for people that aren't expecting them, really annoying, and sometimes like not even just annoying, but just like downright dangerous.
Laugh it up. You could be next.
I admit I used to watch this next show back in the day, and I'm surprised it wasn't canceled. Fear Factor.
Oh, Fear Factor?
Fear Factor made people face their worst fears for a chance to win $50,000 US. But these weren't ordinary fears, they were extreme.
You're gonna climb that 110-foot tower, you will walk to the edge of the platform, and you will leap from the edge, grab a hold of that cargo net. You'll be jumping twice your body length.
Even the host, Joe Rogan, thought something bad could have happened because the stunts were so risky. Luckily, no one got seriously hurt. Still, a lot of terrible things happened because of Fear Factor. Fear Factor premiered on NBC in June 2001, right when reality TV was starting to take off. NBC wanted a show so wild, so extreme, that no one could ignore it. So they created Fear Factor.
This was like a golden pirate page.
In each episode, 6 contestants faced 3 scary challenges. If the contestant was too afraid to complete a stunt, they were eliminated. If they failed the stunt, they were eliminated. Before the stunts even started, contestants had to sign a waiver. The waiver stated that no matter what happened, injury or worse, contestants couldn't sue the show. They signed and the madness began.
I'm Joe Rogan. This is Fear Factor. The stunts you're
Fear
about
Factor
to see were
probably
designed
set up
and supervised by trained professionals.
template.
They are extremely dangerous and should not be attempted by anyone, anywhere, anytime.
For waivers.
Each episode started with a crazy physical challenge. Contestants had to do things like hang upside down over 100 feet in the air. The second challenge always involved something disgusting, and the final stunt was the toughest. It combined fear and physical endurance. Every challenge was intense, but what really made Fear Factor famous were the disgusting challenges. No one was prepared for how wild they were.
Extremely nervous because I know it's not going to be fun. It's going to be terrifying.
In one episode, contestants had to eat sheep eyes. The camera zoomed in, capturing every gag and chew, but they were just getting started.
Come on, harness my man up. Give him a helmet. Baby, let's go. Let's do it. Put a helmet on him.
We had people fly cars across a train, a moving train. Okay, there's risk involved in that, right?
Contestants could back out of a challenge anytime. No one was forcing them, but most refused to quit. However, only one person could win the $50,000 prize. Because of these extreme challenges, Joe Rogan expected the series to be canceled after just a few episodes, but he was wrong. Fear Factor was a massive hit. The first 4 seasons were so popular that it became the first network reality show to be syndicated, which means that it aired on other television networks. The show also made Joe Rogan a household name. Then it finally happened. Fear Factor was sued for an episode that went too far. In January 2005, a 49-year-old man watched an episode where contestants drank blended rats. He was so disgusted that he felt dizzy and lightheaded. In his confusion, he ran into a doorway. He blamed Fear Factor for his injury and sued them for $2.5 million. He said he sued to send a message to NBC and other networks about their programming. However, his case didn't go far. A judge dismissed the lawsuit, calling it frivolous. By the 5th season, viewers were losing interest in Fear Factor. Ratings were dropping. More people criticized the challenges. By 2006, NBC had enough. Fear Factor was canceled after the 6th season. But the show refused to die. In 2011, NBC brought it back, but it was canceled again after 1 season. Then in 2017, Fear Factor returned on MTV.
That's what I was about to say.
It lasted only 2 seasons before getting canceled again. No reality show has punished contestants as much as this next show. Susunoo Denpa Shonen.
What?
Reality shows are
Japanese,
supposed to be fun, but
show?
Susunoo Denpa Shonen was more like torture. And I am not exaggerating. It was literally described as this. The whole point was to push people to their breaking point. Every season, new contestants were thrown into extreme challenges to see how long they would last before breaking down. Meanwhile, millions of viewers watched from home entertained. The show ran from 1998 to 2002, and every season was brutal. Season 1 was the worst. The first season aired in January 1998. It was called Denpa Shonen: A Life in Prizes. The contestant was a 22-year-old man nicknamed Nasubi. The producers wanted someone desperate for fame, someone willing to take on a mysterious challenge without asking too many questions. Nasubi was perfect. He was an unknown comedian trying to make it big. When producers offered him the opportunity to be on TV, he figured it was his big break. Since it was a new show, the producers explained the rules to Nasubi. He would be locked in a tiny apartment without furniture or appliances. He would have no food, no clothing, and no contact with the outside world. His only way to survive would be by entering magazine sweepstakes and winning prizes. He would basically enter contests where he had a chance to win prizes. But there's a catch. The prizes are completely random. You could enter a sweepstake hoping to win a car, but instead you might win a box of ramen noodles. You never know what you're going to get. That was Nasubi's reality. If he won food, he could eat. If he didn't, he went hungry. If he won clothes, he could wear them. Producers told Nasubi he would be released once he won 1 million yen worth of prizes. That was equivalent to around $8,000 at the time. They also promised the footage wouldn't be streamed live. Instead, they would record everything, edit it down, and turn it into a television special. But that was a lie. It was like a real-life Truman Show. It was broadcasted live.
Unbeknownst to him, the show was broadcast weekly across Japan to more than 15 million viewers.
Nasubi thought he was signing up for a challenge. Instead, he became the subject of a twisted social experiment. Nasubi expected to win 1 million yen in prizes in a couple of days. Then he would be released. But days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months, and he wasn't winning much. Viewers watched as Nasubi filled countless sweepstake entry forms, celebrating with a dance each time he won a prize. Unfortunately, most of his prizes were bizarre or useless in his situation, like a tent too large to unfold in his room or a bicycle without any space to ride. He barely won food. He sometimes went days without eating, and when Nasubi finally won a piece of meat, he was overjoyed.
They sent him meat?
He also had no human interaction, so he talked to himself and the camera. After a couple of months, it seemed Nasubi was slowly losing his mind. All this time, he had no idea that 15 million viewers around Japan were watching his every move. Nasubi knew the door was open and that he could leave if he wanted to, but he kept going, determined to reach his goal.
At first, I was excited, and I was thinking about all kinds of things, like how to do something funny in this space. After about a week, I began to worry about whether I could really continue this on my own.
It took Nasubi 15 months to win enough prizes to be set free. 15 months of isolation and hardship. Nasubi's story is the most infamous, but other contestants went through extreme challenges too. In one season, 2 men had to hitchhike all the way from South Africa to Norway. In another, contestants were stranded on a desert island and told to build a raft to escape. these weren't just challenges, they were life or death situations disguised as entertainment. Despite the cruelty, Susumu Denpa Shonen was a hit in Japan. Viewers loved watching it. But over time, people started to condemn the show. It felt morally wrong to push people to their limits just for entertainment.
It's upsetting in a lot of ways. What this producer and all the people who worked for him did to this poor guy.
The show finally ended in 2002, but it's considered the ultimate example of how far a reality show will go for attention. Some reality shows take things way too far, and I believe that entertainment should never come at the expense of someone's well-being, because when the cameras turn off, the damage stays. Visual Venture. If you guys like this video, you guys would probably like my video, Documentaries Banned for Being Too Disturbing, right?
Hey, W video, man. Great job. That was really informative. That was really entertaining. I like that. I like that a lot. Now, with that being said, that's going to be the end of this video. If you guys liked it, go ahead and leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And you already know, of course, I will see you in the next one. Bye.